What if I told you that a Shark Tank backed brand invested in by Mark Cuban and Peter Jones was leaving millions of dollars on the table before working with us? In this video, I'm going to break down how we took them from doing already pretty well to absolutely crushing it with their email marketing channel, scaling to the point where they did over $1.6 million from email in just a single month. I'll show you the exact process that we use to grow their list even quicker, optimize their flows, and find hidden revenue inside of their Klaviyo account. If you're running an e-commerce brand and not auditing your email marketing channel in this way, then you are missing out on a ton of potential growth. And for that reason, you should stick around because this breakdown could change many things for your business. So without further ado, let's get into it. So as you can see here, helping a Shark Tank brand do over $1.6 million from email in a single month here. And you can see here are the two of us, the founders of Kensington Media House. You can see a load of our best stuff here. Once again, this doc is going to be down in the description of the video as it always is. And we're going to give you the before and after now quickly to show you what was going on with this company before we began working with them. So when we first began, they had a very unique hero product, which was actually kind of the reason that they got invested in on Shark Tank, which we can touch on just a little bit. And they already had a really good system for producing high quality campaign emails internally. Now, the main issues that they had were particularly on their flows, but then also a little bit around list growth. And after finding us on social media, they reached out and asked to see if we could offer help in any capacity. So like I said in the beginning of the video, they were already doing quite well with email marketing. The channel was pretty strong on the whole. They had pretty good list growth, strong deliverability, core flows, strong campaign sending cadence of flows definitely were the biggest bottleneck. But you can see here at $1.24 million a month, it's not really anything to turn your nose up at. Definitely really good performance regardless of the brand, unless you're doing 25 or 30 million a month, or you're not really going to see many brands doing that D2C only, really. Still, they knew things could be better with their flows in particular. They inquired and we engaged with one another to see what we could do. So like we're seeing here before, doing $1.24 million, not anything to turn your nose up at, like we were saying, really good. So what could we do to make this channel even better? You're about to find out. Afterwards, there are pop-ups in another platform, unfortunately, to Klaviyo, which we don't have access to at the moment, but it shot up to about 6.2%. Flows went from 323k a month to 481k a month on autopilot. And we even made some Black Friday specific flows, which in the month of November actually did 650k in the month of November. We'll get to that in just a second. I believe it was 650 actually on the dot. Huge result. Let's go through the process of how we made this work. So yeah, so you can see here in Black Friday about 650k. That's a little bit of a typo up above, but yeah, for 1 month, $1.8 million or so, we're not going to turn our nose up at that, certainly far from it. So something I'm going to touch on here in the initial process is that a lot of brands actually don't really use what they have at their disposal. What I mean is they have a lot of unique angles, or they have different things that would be really good in a sales argument to get people to buy from their brand, but they don't actually use everything. So they maybe think that they need to add a ton of new products, or they need to change up a lot of their marketing messaging. But what you might actually realize in terms of making your own email channel better is that you might already have a ton of things at your disposal that you're not actually making the most of. And this was certainly the case with this brand. They had a really unique hero product with this brand, which is actually patented and no other brand in the space can actually use. Pretty much, like, they can't really make a competitor, so to speak. This is the whole base of being invested in on Shark Tank. The crazy thing is though, is that within the flows, they didn't really push any angles about these whatsoever. They really looked like a lot of other brands in the space when really they're anything but. This is a very unique brand with very unique hero products. So we actually realized in the research phase that if we went with longer flows where we were able to kind of discuss a little bit more about these key angles that we had, we knew that we'd have way better results. So that was exactly what we did. We focused a lot on USPs, utilized conditional splits to ensure no one would get the same flow twice. And then we just made sure that we were moving, within the core flows to make sure that we could get up past the 6-ish email mark and not just do 3 to 4 emails per flow like they previously had. So the lesson here, the takeaway before we go into actually some of these emails and how they look, is look around at what makes your brand unique and go all in on that. You likely have some amazing marketing messaging that you're not actually using whatsoever. Search around within your brand and see how else you can educate people on this. It's great reasoning for people to actually purchase. So when we went with implementation, flows is the main bottleneck. This was what we engaged with one another on the basis of working on. We wanted to go with more messages in the flow, and we kind of went with these structures here. So take a look at this welcome flow here for a second and compare it to your own. Here we have, let's say, 8 emails, and you can see what we're doing at each stage. So quick welcome, our brand's mission, USPs, we're obviously reiterating the code here. Same thing with the community and reviews, reiterating the code. USP explanation, explaining why we're so much different to the competition, and kind of same thing here with the bestsellers, right? Because we're saying the reason this is a bestseller is because you literally can't buy it anywhere else. It's a completely unique hero product. That's, once again, go back to the lesson here from this portion of the video is see what you can get to the rest of your marketing messaging in terms of uniqueness, right? Similar thing here with the press feature. Why are we featuring the press? It's because we have a unique product that no one else can actually provide to you, right? So like we're just hammering this angle all the time. And then we're using a little bit of urgency towards the end of this flow, going from 3 or 4 emails up to this, it's a drastically different flow, drastically different proposition for your brand. And this urgency period right at the end, this drove a lot of revenue towards the end of the flow, which we were super happy with. You can see the similar thing going on here with the browse abandoned and abandoned checkout, right? Like you can see here, these are longer flows clocking in at about 6 emails each. You can see the urgency towards the end of the flow, and you can see, in the browse abandoned, we're doing a little bit more selling. Like we're actually going through our USPs, social proof and reviews. Within the abandoned checkout, we're kind of just putting in social proof because you don't really need as much to push people over the line here. When someone's at abandoned checkout, they do want to buy. There's just something that's stopping them, right? Whereas within the browse abandoned, a little bit more selling that we kind of still have to do. So a bit more education on the USPs and showing that we're on Shark Tank. Yeah. Absolutely killer. I'm going to show you some exact emails here in just a second, particularly when we get to the Black Friday section. I will show you the exact emails that we actually, implemented for this brand. But first, I'm just going to talk through the post-purchase flow before we get into those exact emails. This post-purchase flow was a lot different. We're kind of breaking up by the number of times that people have bought, and we're going with a big educational approach, how to use your products, what to expect, reiterating our story, and then getting them onto the SMS list. And then as we kind of come down here for people who've purchased a number of times, we just kind of thank them. And we add some kind of other flows here, which brought us into kind of around sort of 10. So I'm going to show you some exact emails here. I'm also going to link our flows guide in the description of this video, so you can actually go onto our channel and see like the exact emails that we use in these sorts of flows. So that flows guide, if you want to learn the exact emails that we put into all of these kind of specific flows that you see in front of you here, right here on the dock, you can go into our flows guide and you can see all of those. So now what I will show you guys is some exact designed emails that we were using for the brand here. I'm going to get the emails up, and then I'm going to come back to this section and explain down our thought process behind why we designed the emails the way that we did. So we're blurring these out for saving sort of client identity here and confidentiality, but you'll start to see here some of the patterns within all of these emails. So the client is in the fashion space. We don't want to be over designing the hero image necessarily. You can actually see a design guide on the channel where I fully redesigned an email for Ralph Lauren from scratch. So you can take a look at that and kind of see our thought process when it comes to designing for fashion. But here you can see that we're trying to balance getting enough information across to educate people within all of the emails, and then also trying to balance not having the email be too crowded, having enough white space. So you can see here within all of these emails, you'll see a call to action above the fold. You will see some copy, but you'll see the way that we're using different sizing and how we're using image breakers with social proof and with images to sort of break up these emails. So we're basically making contrast within the emails. So rather than having to read the entire email when there is a lot of text in there, you're able to just sort of jump from section to section. So that's what you want to be using contrast in your emails for when it comes to design. You don't actually want to assume that people are going to be reading the emails end to end, because most people actually don't do that. Most people do scan emails, and for that reason, you want to basically build your email in terms of sections. So when people can see this is a clear section, this is a clear section, they can sort of just go section by section down the email and get the gist of the email, right? So you can see here we're putting in the Shark Tank stuff, we're putting in social proof all the way down to as much as we can, and yeah, just like always leaning on the Shark Tank angle. You'd be surprised I actually just weren't doing that, which was obviously going to be quite helpful when we did this. So the kind of structure that we're following here, nice good header. We have a hero image with a call to action above the fold, strong headlines, some body copy, hit the code, and then use our sections with kind of different sections of social proof and images and image breakers to kind of break up the email, and then also to have kind of our featured products like our best sellers in all of these emails. And then kind of down here we kind of finish off a lot of social proof that we've been seeing on Shark Tank, that we kind of have satisfaction guarantee, kind of some of our reviews, some of the publications we've been featured in. And yeah, that's really all we kind of needed for fashion. Actually look at that design guide on the channel. I designed an email for Ralph Lauren from scratch. You can get a lot of ideas from there. That's basically all you need to kind of factor in when it comes to your design. So like when it came here, right, you can see here, these are the principles. Once again, the doc is down in the description. We wanted to follow an educational approach without making the email crowded. You saw how we did that there. A lot of text, but our CTRs were able to kind of remain fantastic. You can see here, this is an abandoned checkout email going at 71% open rate, 12% click-through rate. We were able to do that by having that really, really strong structure within the emails and just making everything really clear and make it so people didn't actually have to read. They were able to just scan. That was pretty much how we were able to generate the kind of click-through rates that you can see on this image right here. So the final thing that I want to run through as well here was that obviously we were doing things, for Black Friday as well. And you can see in the Black Friday course video on our channel that a lot of people just change up their campaigns when it comes to Black Friday, which is not what you want to do. You want to actually change up your flows and your sign up forms as well. And that's exactly what we did for the client here. So Black Friday, we have our strongest offers of the year live for a very short period of time. For this reason, short, aggressive flows where people get multiple emails in a day are actually preferable. And yeah, once again, it's a complete once off. You can go more aggressive, of course, use your your own discretion, but like, right, if it's 3 days of the year and people get 2 emails a day for 3 days, not the end of the world. It's really not going to be the biggest deal. So the format that we changed here for all of the core flows, right? So the welcome series, 2 emails, 1 sent immediately, 1 24 hours later of no purchase. Browse abandoned, abandoned cart, abandoned checkout. We actually did 3 emails. So 45 minutes after someone abandoned, then 6 hours later, and then 24 hours after someone abandoned, right? So they're getting 2 on the first day to try and push them across the line, right? So really, really aggressive sending cadence here. I'll show you a couple of example emails here as well of what we do on Black Friday, so you can just kind of see that these flows get really, really short. So here we have some example BFCM flows emails. You can see here, this is a welcome series email on the left, and then this is a browse abandoned on the right. You can see these are just nice and short, pointing to the sale and making people know that we have the best offers of the year. And then here again, we have kind of some Black Friday emails, once again, call to action above the fold, making things super, super obvious, very little copy, always reiterating the offer and to say, hey, look, this is a crazy offer. You're never going to get a better offer than this from us. Just blurring out some of the information here as well. You can see just short, aggressive emails, with a little bit of copy in there, really, really are preferable on Black Friday. If the Black Friday sale is on for 3 days, we don't want people in a welcome series that lasts for a week, right? We want them to get a welcome series that goes all in a 24 to 48 hour period. Similar thing with the abandoned checker. We want to be, giving them all of those emails within pretty much like a 24-hour period. We're basically optimizing for short, quick conversions, because if they're not going to buy now, when are they going to buy, right? Like we need to just make that really, really clear. So make sure whenever you are in kind of Black Friday time, or if it's a big sale, if you're doing like in one of your big quarterly events, you have a big event per quarter, like a big sale or a big product release that you often do for your brand, your automations need to change, as well as your campaigns and your sign up forms too. Short, aggressive flows with short copy in the body and just reiterating the offer. Just give yourself the best probability possible of actually being in the inbox. This is basically the whole idea. We want to have a higher likelihood of being in the inbox when people are going to open emails, right? Like we want to have a high likelihood of being in the inbox, going to lead to far more revenue, right? These flows did 650K in revenue in November alone. So it's safe to say that these shorter, aggressive flows were absolutely a success for a brand that normally gets way more of its email revenue from campaigns. And yeah, like $1.77 million in a single month, we'll absolutely take that one. We're very happy with that. So yeah, end result, super happy client, really, really good performance from email since. Flows, this point, year and a half later, still live and still ripping. It just goes to show you'll have a lot of opportunity right under your nose, looking at the angles that you're not using for your brand, looking at where you can be a little bit more aggressive here and there. Very, very high leverage thing to do really for your business. You can join our newsletter through the doc in the description. If you need more help, you can drop us an email and see all of our social media there as well. And finally, yeah, if you need more help with scaling your revenue, you can find a time to speak to us here to talk about growing your lifecycle marketing revenue. So now you've seen how we helped a Shark Tank brand unlock millions in extra revenue from email marketing alone. You've also seen that many e-commerce brands are sitting on quite a goldmine with their email lists without even realizing it, with having a lot of opportunity literally right beneath their nose. If you want to learn how to find and unlock that hidden revenue within your business, you can check out this full course video right here, in which we go through everything that there is to learn about e-commerce, email, and SMS marketing A to Z.